There's nothing you can do really because the talking is over. Shell has got their way, the pipe and the gas. The real crime is that our state gave it away for nothing, and that Shell has our gas, and if we want to buy it back, we have to pay the full market price for it from Shell, even though it is ours to begin with. We gave it away for nothing, and we have to buy it back at the full market price. Crazy, like. Doesn't make sense. In 1999, there was talk of the project coming into North Mayo here, in Erris. So it didn't take much heed with at first. Like, we thought it'd be good for the area and good for jobs and good for, to keep the young lads at home and young people at home and that kind of thing. But as time went on, then we started asking questions, and being a fisherman, was worried about if there was going to be any pollution from the project, the development, and going on to the sea to contaminate crabs or lobsters or whatever, any kind of shellfish or that. So I got the offshore EIS, the Environmental Impact Statement, and I sent it over to a marine biologist in the UK in the University of Southampton. So he done a review of it and got back to us and told us that the project would be liable for contamination going into the sea and that. Nobody was listening, like.
No one would expect to win. No, I didn't expect to win because the entire system in Ireland, the entire system of government of the entire establishment in Ireland was organised and helping each other against us. What we were fighting for was to keep it out of Rossmort, and we succeeded in that, even though that's no consolation for us, because all the time, the danger all the time was Balnaboy. Okay, the pipeline going up through Strathford can blow any time. The controls at Glengad are very, very doubtful. Very, very, very doubtful indeed, the controls at Glengad are. I wouldn't depend on them at all. But even if it did explode, it would only kill, and it would kill a number of people, and then that's that, to be all over. But at Balnaboy, the omissions are every day, and the prevailing wind is the southwest, and they blow up the Glenamoy River every day. The emissions are going out there. So the real killer there, the long-term thing that we couldn't stop, we tried, we couldn't, is the emissions that are pouring down on the people.
It's both galling and highly annoying to find yourself considered as a worthless kind of a pawn, and you can have your little say, but don't think we're going to pay any attention to it. So when that realisation dawned, that's, as I say, when I put on my high-vis and woolly hats and I went out and put myself on the line, because that is all that is left to people when they are made to feel both worthless and powerless. We have seen from an early stage that the template for policing protest was certainly set down here. You go in hard, you have a baton charge, then you use the courts to do their bit. And we have seen that that's been continued on now with the water protest in Dublin. They're doing exactly the same thing because Joan, what's her name, got hit with a little bit of a water balloon.
There was 2 Navy boats there protecting Shell at all times. So you had the Navy on the land protecting Shell, and you had the guards you had Navy on the sea protecting Shell, and you had the guards on the land protecting them. To put the Navy on the sea, like they're our defence forces. To put the Navy on the sea is the same as putting an army on the road. Like it's you're turning the forces of the state against its own citizens to protect a foreign national, to protect a multinational company. So in fact, these multinational companies that's coming in to rape our resources are more important to the higher up than we are, than its citizens are. So dirty dealing has been done in the past, and they have to protect that at any cost.
People still try to be a community and go to each other's, we'll say, family bereavements or whatever, and show support to each other in times of need and that. But I would say that the feelings that people have about it would remain. You know, the concerns that people have, they just don't evaporate.
Shane McGrath and Willie split from Shell to Sea. One has to ask why.
For me, it was just a health and safety issue, and I didn't want at all any other issues to get entangled with it. Some then people like Maura Harrington got involved with the far left in Dublin. It became a capitalist, it became international nonsense. I didn't want anything to do with it. I'm a member of Sinn Féin, but this item was totally different. It was totally separate. This item is the health and safety of the people after us forever and ever and ever, and I didn't want anything else. I didn't want it to become mixed up in anything else at all. It hasn't been built in Ballinboy to come to a standard that suits an earthquake zone, because this area was not an earthquake zone then, but it's an earthquake zone now after the earthquake actually very near the Corrib, the epicentre just out near the Corrib, 22 miles south of the centre of the Corrib actually. The stable of PJ Morton was cracked at it. They had the plaster fell off walls in Castlebar. It was felt, you know, it was a 4.2 on the Richter.
Well, it's all down to how the neighbours have all fallen apart from each other, yeah. Like, even in my own village now, there's probably about 40 houses. And to me personally, there wouldn't be 5 of them speaking to me, just because I stood up for what I believed in. Anybody that stood against the gas are now separated from the others, you know. Any money that was given in before the gas was completed, there'll be no more.
What about the GA pitches, the playground?
Oh well, the big and bolt were out.
I was for the project because, I'll tell you why I was for the project, because when I seen gas coming ashore in Erris, I realised that a pipe coming down into Erris could bring gas down to us as easy as it could bring gas away. Now if the terminal was to be built, say in Donegal or Galway, Mayo would never get that pipe coming through. And on top of that, when the pipe was being put in the ground, there was ducting put in around it to bring the fibre optic cable down here. And that project is ongoing as we speak. It has landed as far as Binyongan or someplace around there that the pipe is down there and the fibre cable is there. So I supported the project for the benefits it would bring to Erris, but I didn't support the project for a division of a community. 70 jobs in an area like this is big. If a company comes and they go through all the regulations, all the rules, and then they're not allowed to proceed, well then it doesn't look too good for the country. Like, there was awful mistakes made, and it's no good pretending, like, putting people to jail for what they believed were right was, to me, crazy.
For the last 2 days again, there has been a ship back there with a bunch of small boats doing some repairs on the pipeline. Again, where the pipeline is, the force of the waves are coming on. The pipeline is moving. It isn't over at all.